Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to thank you all for watching in my presentation. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Widya Putri, Prongkasi 2019, page semester. Subject English for specific purpose and lecture Mr. Adisman SPD MPD. Okay, here I will explain about material related to ESP. 1. The origin of ESP. ESP is English for specific purpose, which means that the teaching and use of English has a special file and study according to the needs of English users. At this time, English is the key international currency of technology and commerce, and as a reasons to be able to learn foreign language, ESP growth. There are three main reasons, namely, 1. The demand of abrupt new word. He'll explain that knowledge of a foreign language is considered a sign of a comprehensive education. Learner must learn a foreign language or English. Number 2, a revolution in linguistics. So the English they learn is identified by analyzing its linguistic characteristics. Number 3, focus on the learner. Here provide support for learner in learning and increase student motivation, and thus can make learning better and faster. So the growth of ESP is caused by three important factors. A. Expansion of demand for English to meet specific needs. B. Development in linguistics. C. Development of educational psychology. Number 2. The development of ESP. ESP has developed in many ways. ESP is known as science and technology. So, the development of ESP includes several stages. From the year early 1960 to today's use. 1. The first stage, register analysis. The stage begins with analyzing and identifying the register of students and is focused on sentences. Second stage, rhetorical or resource analysis. This stage, ESP becomes intimately involved with the emerging field of research. Third stage of target situation analysis. That is, what we do is take existing knowledge and put it on a more scientific basis by establishing procedure for linking language analysis more with learner reasons for learning. The fourth stage is skills and strategies. So here we focus on the underlying strategy and skills. The 5 learning centered approaches. At this stage refer to learning, so that students can imply the use of language and language learning in the learning process. Number 3, language description. Here we can find out the description of language through several main stages of its development. 1. Classical or traditional grammar. Description of English and other language are based on classical, Greek, and Latin grammar. Thus, classical description can deepen our knowledge of how language operates. Number 2, structural linguistics. In the description of structural linguistics, grammar is described in the form of a syntagmatic structure that carries basis, proportion, and idea. 3. Transformational generative grammar. So, if we want to understand how language works, it cannot be seen as a phenomenon but must be viewed as a reflection of the human mindset. 4. Language variation and registers analysis. The concept of language variation gives rise to the ESP type, which is based on register analysis. If the language varies by context, it is necessary to identify the type of language associated in the context. 5. Functional and national grammar. The functional view of language began to have an influence on language teaching in the 1970s. On a functional or national basis, some approximate equations are reached because meanings and function represents categories of human thought regarding grammar. 6. Research rhetorical analysis. All communication has a structural level, a functional level, and research level, but not mutually exclusive but complementary according to their respective needs. Number 4. Theories of learning. Language learning is done by observing, organizing, and storing information according to the way of thinking. In other words, language learning and teaching doesn't lie in analyzing the nature of language, but in understanding and processing through the following 6 stages of learning theory. 1. Behavioral learning as habit language formation. This theory is based on the mechanical process of habit formation through repeated reinforcement of a sequence of stimulus responses. This process provides the theoretical foundation of the audiolingual method as it was in the 1950s to 1960s. 2. Mental thinking as a governing activity. So here we thinking to be governed by rules that learning doesn't consist in forming habits but acquiring rules. Number 3. Cognitive code. Learner as thinking beings. So learning requires students to think and to apply their mental power in order to filter the route in their learning effectively. Number 4. The affective learner as emotional beings. Emotional factors are easy to see, so that the relationship between cognitive and affective learner can know and actively think about what they are learning, so emotional reaction to learning experiences are an important foundation in thinking. Number 5. Learning and acquisition. That is, learning is seen as a conscious process where insight takes place consciously. So here we don't need to pay attention to the difference, but we can use the two terms interchangeably because both are a learning process. 6. A model for learning. Learning model provides a practical reference source for a teacher. So how do we do learning with a variety of knowledge? Number 5. Need analysis. Need analysis is collecting information about the learner and determining the situation in the learning environment. There are 4 processes in analyzing students' needs as follows. 1. What are the target needs? So in analyzing the needs of the target needs to know what is the necessities, lacks, and wants. So necessities are about what students need to know to be effective in the target situation. Lacks, So it's about what the learner already know, so the teacher can decide which needs the student doesn't have. Wants means needs that must be prioritized by students. Number 2, gather information about target needs. We can collect information by conducting observational interview and continue by collecting data. Number 3, learning needs. Students need knowledge and ability to perform competencies in the target situations. Number 4, analysis learning needs. So, to analyze learning needs, we can use checklists. To do so can be done with a performance framework. For example, how do learners learn? So, for example, what is the student background like? What is the concept of teaching like? What are the technique? The last, or number 6, are projects to courses design. Courses design is the process by which raw data about learning needs are interpreted to produce a series of teaching and learning experiences. Number 1, language-centric courses design. It aims to illustrate directly the connection between the analysis of the target situation and course content and addresses students' learning needs for language. Number 2, skill-centered courses design. Skill-centered courses design has 2 principles, theoretical and pragmatic. Theoretical, namely finding basic competencies and understanding people performance to perform in target situations. Pragmatic, goal-oriented, process-oriented courses. So, skills-centered courses also develop students' ability to read English text. Number 3, a learning-centered approach. A learning-centered approach, namely to maximize the potential of situation in student learning. Okay, maybe that's we can explain. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.